right, guys, what's happening? Today, something a little bit different. Today, we are coming at you from the Run It Up Studios in Las Vegas.
Feels very official with the headsets and everything.
Doesn't it? Look at us. Look at his team, the green screen in the background. So today, we're going to be reviewing a session that went down up in Reno at Run It Up Reno at the Peppermill. We played a session of short deck No Limit Texas Holdem, which also happened to be my first ever session of short deck. It was pretty fun. We streamed it.
I have not seen any. I've only seen maybe like 2 or 3 hands from the whole session.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see how many times you bluff me.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how. I'm interested to hear what you're going to say about the times I tried to bluff you and the times you failed to bluff me.
I have played a little bit more short deck than you, but not like I'm not like an expert by any means. But it'll be fun to kind of go through here and kind of live through these hands with you.
Yeah, the cool thing about this is that nobody's really an expert yet. So, especially me, like I said, first time ever playing it. This guy's played a few more hands than I have, so nobody really better at the moment, I think, to give some info, some expertise-ish on these hands. All right, so with that being said, we're gonna dive into this. All right, guys, from the department of I have no idea what's going on, we decided to play a short deck No Limit Hold'em cash game here on the stream. So my first experience, my first time ever playing this game, what could possibly go wrong? So here we are. We are on the table. We are at the short deck 6-max table here.
You can see our hero, Andrew Nemi, rocking that favorable hoodie, looking nice. Hat too, right?
Exactly.
So let's talk about who we've got here in our lineup before we get into the action. So obviously you're in the 5 seat, yes. Boston Rob in the 6 seat. Also had never played a short deck before. He is a Survivor champion. He played Big Brother, Amazing Race. I don't know. He's a reality TV star, super nice guy.
Super nice guy.
And loves poker. On your right, Jamie Staples. On Jamie's right, Jeff Gross. On Jeff's right is Ricky, rated GTO, and then that's me in the hat you can barely see in the front of the screen.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it was everybody's first time playing short deck, or like they'd only played once maybe before. So
right. And I think Jamie said he did about an hour of study on the treadmill just before this game.
Kind of showed. He, as we'll see as we go through it. I thought Jamie played fairly reasonably, so yeah, we'll have to see.
And then you're the only person that has a little bit of experience, as mentioned. But aside from that, a bunch of noobs here, just kind of finding their way through this game as we go.
Let's talk a little bit about the game structure here.
Yes.
So it's a little different than regular Hold'em. It's actually ante only. So there's no blinds. So the button antes twice, and the other player's ante 1 time. Action starts to the left of the button. The game is usually played with a 50 ante buy-in. Max is 100. And at this point in the session, this is probably still relatively early on.
Yeah, this is early on, and we were playing with no cap. I know sometimes there's a cap on the buy-in, but no cap on the pot size. So it's still no limit everything you have in front of you in your chip stack. Sometimes the game is played with you can only lose, say, like $200 or $300 in any one particular hand, even though you might have $800 in your chip stack.
Yeah.
But this, we were playing whatever in your chip stack is in play.
Also, one of the few games that I've ever heard that allows rat holing in most of the high stakes games, which basically means if you have 250 and you run it up to 1,000, you can take off 750 and go back to 250. Yeah. In a normal poker game, that is like usually completely disallowed. But in short deck, for a few different reasons, mostly that the game is very gambly, and at those higher chip depths, it actually sometimes gets worse. Action gets kind of worse at the higher depths. So
yeah. So even though we said,
but not in this game.
We said no rat holing.
No rat hole in this game. Yeah, because I felt like it was going to be too complicated anyway. So
yeah.
And I'll also say that this obviously was a Run It Up Reno live stream, so we broadcast this for the first time. So there are a few things like in the future I would love to have percentages. We didn't have percentages for this broadcast, so I'll just do my best to guess what I think the percentages are. But I haven't checked beforehand. These hands are all fresh to me.
Some guesstimations going on. Okay. So yeah, we'll get this fired up here. We'll hop into the action.
Get those cards in the air.
Just right off the bat here, you can see I'm looking at the 8-7 suited, and obviously I'm so used to basically never limping any open limping any hands in No Limit Hold'em full deck. And I've one of the first questions that I'll probably have for you is, should you be coming in for a limp? Should you be coming in for a raise with this kind of hand from under the gun? We can see what I decide to do here.
In my experience, you actually can limp a lot of these hands under the gun. You want to have more of an opening range when you are nearer to the button, just like you would nearer to the big blind. in regular Hold'em.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he raised a 30 under the gun.
I met him before.
Call.
And Jeff calls with Queen 8 of spades. It's okay. It's fine.
Two players.
Your opening size also fine.
He was
6
true to
antes.
form,
It's
eating
okay.
Avocados and eggs.
Yeah.
You know, and
And we go off to the first flop.
pulling up his end of the bargain. Well, I ate a huge.
So
VLT.
Jeff flops you pretty dead.
Check.
To
dead
be
to
fair,
runner,
I had
runner
ordered
clubs.
before he got there.
Also, I think it's important for us to point out that in this game, flushes are better than full houses. And also, the ace plays low, so ace 6, 7, 8, 9 is the straight.
Check.
Yes.
Those are the only differences in this game. Trips are worse than a straight, just as you know. So the action's gone check, 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 check. And now here we are on the river.
Yeah.
And so Jeff makes bottom boat. And you decide to bet
That's 35.
35. Does this hand seem familiar to you?
Yeah, I remember this hand from my point of view for sure. I think when the flop comes down ace king queen and I have 8 high here, I do have backdoor flush draw, but aside from that, nothing. So I think my game plan here is to, especially out of position, to just like go for the delay bet, the delay C bet, the double delay C bet.
Surprised you didn't consider betting the turn here when he goes check, check the flop. But I guess he does have a decent amount of queen X that checks back.
Yeah, he could have like a pair and a draw, pair and a straight draw that he is trying to get showdown with, and will peel another one. I have no way to improve now on the turn, so with no equity in the hand, I decide to check it again and kind of give up if he bets. But now that we arrive on the river and we have 8 high, I decide to take a stab at it and see what happens.
You make a very small bet here, 35 into 130, and you would think that Jeff would pay this off here.
Loose call for you. Just give it up now.
He lets it go.
I'm a little surprised. I actually wonder if somehow there was something wrong with the RFID there, because I would be surprised. Obviously, you had 8-7 suited, so I think your bluff there is very reasonable as played. But I wonder from his point of view if that was early on in the session, if somehow the card reader was wrong. Because I'd be surprised if Jeff folded bottom both there, given he's getting 5 to 1.
Yeah, I think it seems like a pretty standard call there with a full house, just tossing in those chips.
So this hand here,
Call.
I limped
Strong
with
5.
8-7 suited undergun +1, which is a totally reasonable strategy. If you're not familiar, that's rated GTO on my left at the table. To his left, Jamie Staples, Jeff Gross on his left, our hero, Andrew Nemi in the 5 seat, and then reality TV show star Boston Rob in the 6 seat.
Looks good.
And so I'm getting some change here with my limp with the 8-7 suited.
4 players.
And we got ourselves a little 4-way flop. And
Check.
good flop for me and Jeff. We both flop the joint.
Yeah, let's chat real quick about your decision to check with the nuts here.
Yeah, so on a 10-9-6 board, people are almost always going to be betting on this sort of spot. Like, it's so likely with 5 players that somebody is going to bet. Especially in a game with new players, people are going to be like, I got king 10, I'm going to bet it. Which in Hold'em, regular Hold'em, you probably would, but in short deck, you don't really like those one pair with no immediate draw type hands.
Exactly. One thing that I kind of felt like as I was playing this game is that it's kind of similar to PLO.
Yes.
In the way that like those one pair hand values kind of diminish a little bit. You don't feel super comfortable about them.
Yes, definitely true. Especially multi-way. Okay. So I check.
So yeah, it seems like someone's probably gonna have something here. So you let it happen. It seems like.
Bet 15.
Yep.
Jeff also has the nuts. He puts out the bet. I call with my open ender to the nuts on both sides.
Your hand is very strong here, even though a king and 2 8s are dead. Still very reasonable call.
Jake Harvard puts all the money in.
All in.
I check jam and stare into the camera longingly, as you do.
Jeff's loving it.
So yeah, this shove is obviously totally fine. I have 40 antes. There's already 15 antes or something in the pot when it comes back to me. Maybe even about that. And now you have a decision to make here, which is kind of interesting. So 450 in the pot, you have to call 190. If all your outs are clean, you must call, right? In short deck, your outs here, you just have too many outs to fold if 8 outs are clean. Now, you also have to think about there's a chance that I have queen jack. Possibly we'll play the hand exactly the same way, check, bet, shove. I could also have sets. I can have 2 pair. I probably can't have 9-6, but I could have 10-9. I probably wouldn't have 10-6 or 9-6, I guess. I could have 6-6, 9-9, 10-10. All those make sense. 7-8 also makes sense. I will not have ace-10 here. I will not have ace-ace here.
Right.
As played. Ace-ace would be a weird hand to play in this spot, but
Yeah.
so from your point of view, it's kind of comes down to what Jeff is doing. If I wasn't in the pot, if Jeff wasn't in the pot, I think you would probably just have to call and try to get get there. Also, like once in a while, I have Jack 8 and you're crushing me. Maybe something like that. Three-handed though, I'm not really sure. What were you thinking?
I mean, for me, it felt like it was really on the fence. I felt like it didn't really matter a ton either way what I end up doing here. I feel like nobody wants to see a nit on the stream, so it's not really about folding. But I feel like with two people in there, usually what happens in these kind of spots is one person has a set, one person has a straight or something, and then I'm doing okay in that sort of situation. It's weird though because like two people have an 8, so that's less outs for me.
Yeah,
so
Boston Rob folded a king 9. It's definitely not a great spot. With 2 to come here, you're probably not against our exact hands with the cards that are dead. You're not getting the right price. We can do the math. Obviously, you have to take out 2, 3, 4, 5 from the calculator. So there are 16 cards removed from the deck. So there's 36 cards left, and you have 5 outs. So not a great spot for you with 2 to come. If you have 8 outs, though, you're doing just fine. Yeah. So this spot, I would basically come down to what I think Jeff is doing. I think at this point, Jeff was still playing a little bit on the snug side. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's fine to call it off. It's certainly close. Now, I wonder if you jam here versus flatting. Like, if you call and the turn is a 10 and Jeff jams, you can just fold, don't you think? Like,
if the board pairs,
yeah, maybe.
All right,
because
Jeff.
he's never folding, and
No
you're
king,
also
baby.
very
No
rarely
king.
getting it in.
No king, my man.
It's funny. He knew exactly, by the way.
Jack queen.
Might have to call more.
He knew that one of the two of us had queen jack
Might be
there.
more behind than.
All right, we're friends. Whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
Whatever he wants to do.
Jeff was a lot of fun in this game, by the way. I had never played past with Jeff before. I thought he was.
Jeff has a great attitude, win or lose.
Yeah, he definitely does.
All right, so we don't have the percentages up here, as mentioned, but
you have 5 outs with 36 total cards in the deck. You have to take out the cards we've seen. And this is exactly the kind of card that maybe you could have folded on, which would not have been great, but it would have been possible. That hand I do remember. A favorable river for you. And you ship that pot.
You have me covered.
Look at that guy. That's a happy guy right there.
Look at him go.
I think I probably lost like 15 buy-ins in front of you at short deck in this trip alone.
That's true. I lost so much money in front of Ricky this trip. It was embarrassing. And whenever he followed me around, I just lost money. It was
sad. You got the money in good. I'm sure he's proud of you for that.
We got it in reasonably good there. So
I don't know if that's
I think it was an okay decision by you. If you look at, you had 5 outs, obviously with 36 cards in the whole deck. We knew the 3 flop cards plus the 12 dealt cards. Your outs are reasonable. You're not in a terrible shape in short deck with the open and a straight draw. Very powerful hand,
short deck.
Especially heads up. 5 ways, just river the high straight.
And nobody having a pile beside me. So good.
I did have Jeff's number a little bit on this entire Run It Up Reno adventure.
Okay, and there you go. I had enough, folded that hand. Rated GTO out of the way. Action
Mike,
on
are we live
Jeff
already?
Gross.
Or Randall?
Okay, so it folds to you in the cutoff. This is one of those spots where it's a little weird, right? Because the cutoff in this position against the button, it's like a kind of a merge situation, right? Because you're attacking the button and also the big blind all in one. Okay. So you have to be, you definitely want to be raising and attacking in this situation, and I think 30 is a fine size, and ace-jack is obviously a fine hand to do it. But this is one of those spots where it kind of plays like you're in the small blind, trying to steal the big blind, but it's way worse for you because the big blind has the button also. So the button is going to be very ferociously defending here, and like probably defending top 70 or maybe even higher percent off the top of my head. So I think your decision to raise here is fine. You could actually even raise bigger. Because remember, there's already 30 in the antes plus Rob's 5s, right? There's 35 in there, and you're risking 30 to win 35.
Yeah, that's the question, I guess, is do you basically use standardized sizings from all the positions, or do you mix it up a little bit?
I mix it up a lot, limping a decent amount. It depends on your opponents, and at this point, the skill levels are so different. So some guys will defend a lot, way too much, way too little. Think about this, right? Imagine you were playing a 10-20 game right, which has $30 in the pot pre-flop, similar to this. Like, you would always make it like 60, 70, 80 on the button. There's the same amount of money in the pot here, and you're making it 30. So, right, you're making it 30 to win 35. So, like, the button should be fighting back a ton in this spot. And we could talk about maybe you should mix in some limping strategies here in the cutoff. But mostly, I like raising and attacking against the player who hasn't played much before.
Okay, see what happens.
Clear defend here from Boston Rob.
2 players.
And off to the flop we go. Oh,
That's a good one.
action flop here.
Yeah.
So you flop trips,
Okay.
and Rob flops the flush draw. Now remember, guys, there are no 2, 3, 4, 5s in the deck. So
45.
Boston Rob has 2 outs.
Yeah.
Oh, the 7 and the 6 are dead.
Ace of diamonds is no good.
No one needed to.
That's such a gangster
Call.
It's so cool.
Oh, actually, what am I saying? Ace diamonds would have been good. Must be dead. Must have been folded.
Just
Remember,
like
full
two.
houses worse than
Saw it
flushes.
somewhere. I think someone had it, and I was like, oh.
Even you still get confused. You forget.
Yeah. When the graphics are confused, it confuses me. So on the flop, you bet he called. Seems very reasonable. And now on the turn here, you still have to feel like you have the best hand.
Yeah, I think I feel pretty comfortable about it. I could be behind some hands, obviously. I could have king jack, queen jack.
I think you want to size up here.
Could have a straight.
Nice sizing. I actually
Bet
remember this
125.
hand
Just tell me all those green chips, Mike.
live.
How much you
So
got?
125. You know, he's gonna have a lot of. He's gonna have a decent amount of king X, queen 10, ace 10. Probably not, maybe, but could have ace 10. Could have some 10-9s. Anything else you think? Like, he might have a worse jack and just flat the flop. It's certainly possible.
Yeah.
Jack 10 would play the hand probably the exact same way. Queen jack is a cooler. King jack is a cooler. He won't have king king or queen queen or jack jack. He has decent amount of flush draws also. I like your sizing, I think, generally.
Yeah, he's got 280, so I bet 125 of that.
Could arguably also check jam here. Kind of a cool move. You know, you raised, you bet. You know, that's a very standard like steal line, right? Tried to raise, tried to bet the flop, check, give him a chance. If he's the kind of player, to float the flop with like smaller pocket pairs, maybe some ace highs. You know, if he's really peeling widely, queen 9 on the flop, stuff like that, then I kind of like checking here. Not really sure.
I feel like most people are going to play pretty straightforward in a game where they don't have a lot of experience with. They're just going to kind of play their hands as they see them.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of floating, I wouldn't imagine. So.
Yeah, I'm okay with the bet for sure here. And if he has a king, it's going to be a tough spot. If he has queen 10, not sure what he's going to do with queen 10. It's definitely a tricky spot there. And with his actual hand, I think the right play is to just call. If he never thinks you're folding, you should just call. If given the stacks, like, are you ever folding to like a min-raise shove?
I wasn't going to fold.
No, obviously not this hand. But I'm saying, like, is there any hand? Is there any hand you're going to play this way that you're going to fold? Like, I don't really know. Like
ace king? I don't know.
You can't fold ace king, though, because what if it just has queen 10 or king 10? You know what I mean? Or like king 10 of spades, something like that. You know what I mean? Like, those hands might just jam also. Like, you would have a hard time folding anything that was, like, paired, I think. Like, aces, ace king, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I don't know. I think in that, if you're never folding, then he should not be jamming with 10 high.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would probably think the same way from his point of view.
Yeah, so I think at this point, let's just so remember, guys, the outs are not going to be right because the outs don't see the flushes beating full houses. The next time we do this short deck, we'll have that all fixed. This time we had to run the Holdem information. So in truth, Boston Rob can win here with a flush, but not or a straight, obviously. So you bet 125.
There's Mike, the floor guy.
There's Mike Nelson,
Shout
the
out to
amazing Mike Nelson. Could not do Run It Up Reno without him.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Maybe if the Dodgers win.
And he does just flat, which I like here. I like that decision.
Yeah, no big deal.
He knows the flush, if he makes it, it's gonna be the nuts.
I feel bad for Jason.
Red
Setup.
7.
This was like a little
Complete brick on the river.
Total brick. You're all in.
No.
And Boston Rob is not loving this short deck game.
Just hoping he has like Jack 10 or King Queen or.
Yeah. Even a single king, you know, it's a card you could definitely be bluffing on if you're somehow bluffing. Reasonably played by you, I think.
Pretty
All things
straightforward,
considered.
I think.
A set's like 5 to 1, right?
Yeah, like 6 to 1, I think. Something like that. On the flop.
Nobody knows the math that's great about this game.
Raised to 30. So
It's a very friendly atmosphere where people are asking you questions about your thoughts on the approach to the game. It might not happen all the time in a poker game.
No,
hey,
no.
well, how do I play this? What do you guys do? I mean,
When I invite guys to come play a game they've never played before, I feel like I have to
excellent
answer
fold.
questions. You know.
Could have done that one too.
So you raise another gun +1 here. Jeff calls with ace queen. Definitely a flop you can bet. Indeed, you do. Pretty small bet here, though. Like, I'd expect Jeff to be pretty sticky here with a lot of his hands. Like, this is the cool thing about short deck, right? Like, let's talk about the kinds of hands he plays this way. That fold, right? He called on the button against your raise. Like, he has a decent amount of these, like, 7-6 type things, 8-9. Like, on the button, he's not folding many of those. So the kind of hands he's folding to your bet here are like Jack-9, right? Like King-9, maybe like...
If he has a backdoor flush, I might call anyway. He might peel.
Exactly, because the price you gave him is pretty sweet. So I don't think he's folding a ton in this spot. One little note generally is that if you're on the button, you have way more of the 6s and 7s than the guy who raised under the gun. Just like having deuces in the big blind in regular Hold'em.
We'll see. It's a 2 for sure.
Nice card for you there.
Yeah, it's one of the best cards that I could find.
So you turn a gut shot to the 8. Jeff also has a gut shot to the 8, but it is a worse straight.
Yeah. This is kind of a spot where really just not sure what to be doing here in terms of like sizing.
Yeah, you bet 500. Yeah.
So Jeff has $365.
Yeah.
So I'm betting all of his chips because I turned a bunch of equity in the hand, and I'm pretty sure I don't have the best hand a lot of the time.
The fact that you could have Jack-10 here is a little scary, I think, from your point of view, because there are a decent amount of hands that you have that want to bluff. So that, especially because it goes 30-35 all in, right? Like the story you're telling is please fold. That's how I read it.
Yeah.
And so that's never great, right? Like, but I wonder, like, what else could you have done here? So you bet 500, so that means there was 160 in the pot. You could have bet pot 160. That would have been okay. Maybe like 200, something like that. All in is certainly fine, very similar to those sizings. I think the question is, like, what are the hands you have? When you're in the same spot, you have to also bet this way. If you have a hand like a set, or if you have, like, I don't know, somehow Queen-9, like, you can't just have these sort of draws in this spot.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you have a set, I mean, I guess, is there a difference between, like, betting, like, just under full pot or something, or just saying, all right, I just want to end the hand here. If you want to take all your equity to the street, let's get it in.
There is a difference, but, you know, like, this is one of those spots. This is one of those boards that just so heavily favors the button versus you. You know, like, who has the 8-10 offsuits here? Jeff, not you, right? Who has ace-8 offsuit here? Jeff, not you, right? Like 7-6 suited, 7-9 suited, 6-9 suited, Queen-9 offsuit. Like, all those are Jeff's, not really you.
Yeah.
So he has some good hands to fight back with here. In Jeff's actual spot, like, I think his hand is just too good to fold given the situation. Exactly. By the way, if you have ace-ace or king-king here, this is also kind of a cool spot to jam, because
that's what I was thinking. If I have like a super vulnerable one pair kind of situation and the board is getting really connected and just want to,
like, if I told you he had ace-queen in the spot, would you have thought he would fold?
If I knew he had ace-queen,
would you have shoved?
Probably not. I'd probably just bet smaller.
I would not have expected him to fold ace-queen had he turned it up.
500. It's more than, it's a lot.
At this point, when he's tanking, you surely must still be a little concerned here. Jeff is like a little bit of a tanker.
I felt like he was going to put a hero call in, and I didn't think it was going to be this good of a hand. I think he was like going to call me down with like
queen jack,
like king queen or something. And
queen jack would be kind of a crazy call here, but in the cash games, I got called by queen high on the river in short deck, so you never know. Miracles happen correctly.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I guess you have Jack 10 or kings, so let's gamble, Jason. We can't get unstuck.
Good guess.
Pretty reasonable.
Kings or Jack 10, I hope.
Sheriff Jeff, I thought we were going to see.
Oh, that was one of the other ones, but I had my least favorite hand. I don't know.
Wow.
8?
No.
So
let's think about clean cards. Why
you got to
would
find an
say
8.
Oh, Well, I guess
That's
8 chops,
fucking
but
weird.
actually it doesn't. So
8
yeah.
doesn't
Heart.
chop here.
All right,
8
Paul,
or
I
heart.
asked you to focus last time, so just get lost in your mind.
6,
just get
8.
lost. Don't focus at all. Just be carefree. Best hand holds. And
Jack.
2 for 2 on
Jack
me
of
this
hearts,
trip.
queen of hearts, king of
Right?
hearts.
Just get lost. Get wild. Think about something else.
You're like a
other
3 to
than-
1 dog, maybe. Oh!
And the heart. Well, the good news is I knew I lost. Like, it was a heart and an 8. So, like, that was, like, crystal clear. Like, literally crystal.
He's the best. When he loses, when he gets sucked out on, he's got some good lines.
Running good.
Nice
Easy
to
game.
be Andrew
This is
Nemi.
such an easy game, you guys. You really try playing this game.
It's a pretty. This is pretty cool, I think, for the fans to have sweated in this, also in this vlog, to go back and
Raise
see,
to 30.
because obviously you don't usually get such great shots of you playing, right? Like,
Yeah.
I definitely want to do more games like this, because
We will be for sure.
if you guys enjoyed both the live stream and this review, definitely let us know in the comments and on Twitter. I would love to hear your guys' feedback.
Yeah. So Jeff opened it up in the hijack, ace king offsuit. I assume
We
it's
raised
still
to
a
130.
fairly premium hand in short deck. Maybe.
Yep. And I like this fight back by you with ace king on the button, of course. You got to be defending that button. It's just so powerful because you're in position, you're on the double ante, you're going to get attacked a ton. So this looks good to me. Jeff makes it 30, you make it 130. And now Jeff can just
See,
flat
let's break
here.
down
Like,
Andrew's range.
he's probably only about like
He's also from
40%.
Michigan, too. Probably feels a little bad. He's been just felting me, so he's got a good hand, but we'll give a little loose call.
Call.
Comes
I
from
like
behind.
the flat.
Take
I
this
think
too.
jamming would be a little.
Start the
Definitely
hometown.
worth
You're not
behind.
re-raising with a
Yeah,
6/7 suited in
Hometown
this
and just,
game.
like, owning
No.
my
So
soul.
Check.
6/6/10.
Pretty
Jeff,
safe.
yeah, Jeff almost never has
Even
too many
the hand I was beating, the
sixes.
Jack 10 thing, you're winning now. Like, that's the one I could beat.
I think Jeff played the hand
Easy,
pretty
easy,
well,
Jack. Can I
and so
get
did
some
you.
chips? I need
Sure.
to top up a little more. If we're
Need
going to
some
double up,
chips,
we better make
please.
it count.
That's up.
Okay.
I shouldn't raise anything.
Wow.
Okay, so let's see here.
This is a fun spot too.
Yeah.
So Jamie opens
Yep.
with kings, and you just flat the button with
I just
queens.
flat with the queens.
Now you've gotten very deep stacked at this point. We started with 250. You got 18 hundo in front of you, which is
Yeah.
a sick amount.
Things are going well in the short deck.
Sick things are going very well. So I assume you flat here because of how deep you are, primarily.
It's a combination of that and sort of. I mean, I think Jamie's playing fairly snug. I don't think he's getting too out of line, but he is from the cutoff, opening from the cutoff, so his range could be decently wide there.
He should be.
It's also a matter of not really being too sure about how strong of a hand Pocket Queens is in this game. Obviously in No Limit in full deck, it's very standard 3-bet. But again, like going back to, I've played a decent amount of PLO, and when you have like weak queens, queen XX on
Right,
the
it's
button,
not great.
It's not a 3-betting hand really. So I don't know. I'm just trying to find.
It's a little bit different, right? You're right that you're not really sure, right? And to me, the line is probably jacks. Like maybe I would call jacks and 10s and 9s and those sort of things. But the more aggressive the cutoff is being, the more aggressive you can be, of course, just like any poker game.
Yeah, so probably like a late position open.
You could have
probably
re-raised
put
here,
in the
but
3-bet.
I think calling is
being
tricky, but
a
cool.
lot deep.
And also pretty cool, the Queen of Diamonds.
Maybe you should
favorable
raise
one, right?
more.
It's a pretty good one, dude.
You
You're
gotta
right.
get in there.
Yeah.
Put that word in
Check
there.
it.
I got it once
Caps
before.
there.
I think.
We got our thinker caps in there.
So, Jamie checks.
40.
You certainly bet.
What do you think about Jamie's check there?
It's weird, right? 'Cause it kind of plays like small
Defensive.
blind versus big
I like it.
But
It's
even
certainly
worse
fine
'cause
to
the
bet.
big blind
Wow,
gets
what
the
a sick
button.
card that is.
Yeah.
You make a
It's
boat, and
like,
Jamie can't go anywhere with kings and sixes.
Yeah, that shouldn't have helped me at all.
It helps you way more than it helps Jamie,
That's
right?
true.
Because you do have a lot
I did
more of the
flat.
sixes.
Yeah, I did flat.
They do that and they'll win the button.
I could pick up like some backdoor flush draws here.
Really weird.
Like, imagine in Hold'em, if Jamie raised cutoff, you called button, and it came deuce, queen,
like I
8,
saw a
deuce.
vlog that
You'd
they
be
were
like,
like,
no one would have a deuce in that spot almost ever. But it's a little different here because obviously there are less cards, and you definitely could have some of the 6X's
I think it's a pretty big
in this
favor,
situation. Jamie just check calls, which seems right to me. I kind of wish you had sized up maybe a little bit, but then again, what can he have?
Check.
You have all the queens.
Yeah.
So what does he have? Jacks or overpair? Like at this point, do you remember what you were thinking he had at all? Like hand-wise, do you remember what you were thinking he could have?
Not
Like,
sure. I mean, he could have the last queen. I didn't really necessarily
230.
think he had the overpair, so I don't know. It's tough when because you're blocking all the queens, right? I guess I just feel like I have everything on lock when it comes to the turn, and then I want to keep his entire range in there for the most part, but still try and extract some value while also like betting some backdoor flush draws that I can pick up, maybe for a similar sizing.
But I don't know. See, what I'm thinking in my head, man, is like, would you bet 85 on the turn as a bluff? Because it's small.
I love that Jamie talked through his hand in this spot.
It is, yeah, no, it is.
Yeah.
Because if you bet bigger, then I'd be more confident.
Boston Rob is asking if
kings and
that's
sixes.
what he's really thinking about.
I know.
Tough to fold here.
I don't see how he can.
Yeah.
But diamonds missed, a lot of straight draws missed.
Yeah,
Andrew's
I
a
don't
beast,
think-
so you can turn like Jack 10 into a bluff. Like, you can do all sorts of
Pretty
crazy
reasonably.
This is actually a video going on his,
I love
his
it.
short deck site.
Short Deck
This
Academy.
talking out loud, yeah, during mid-hand, it's beautiful.
stuff. I like Andrew too. I got to give him action.
Like you do, James.
There you
I like to
go.
call whatever happens.
Call.
But
I like the call also.
what a hand.
Yeah, he chose the king.
What was the action pre? You raised?
What a hand!
He could have lost more.
He could have lost way more. You re-raised, he calls probably, you know. If you had re-raised and he re-raised you pre-flop, you probably
Makes
just
sense.
fold.
I think I just have
That's
to fold
small
it.
at the top
Yeah.
set.
That one,
So,
yeah, that's
which is a weird spot to turn queens into. You know, are you turning it into a bluff sometimes? But I mean, I guess
think
he's
so.
just gonna
Maybe
play pretty straightforward too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
By the way, at this point, we raised the
Like
ante.
800
Ooh.
So it's 10 ante now with
Yeah.
10
It's like
button
5K in the
ante.
pot.
Price of poker's going up.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
But those guys, you know, they don't want to play that tiny.
Yeah.
Micros, dude.
So there's already $70 in the middle on the table.
Raise all in.
Boston Rob
crazy
limped,
Asian
Jeff limped behind.
That's what you are.
And now
205.
Jamie with 205 jams here. Oh, hello.
Hey.
And I like
We
your
raised
raise
to
here.
535
If you call, this game does often go call. Look how much Jeff
I'm
has,
gonna
right?
give you a loose one
You
there.
call.
I was calling.
Jeff calls. And Jamie's not in a horrific shape here. My guess is he's
Yeah.
42 something
I
percent,
feel good.
40%.
I'm not reaching for the pockets. I feel
Yeah,
good
I mean,
about
with
this.
so much money in the middle, and he's only got a stack of that says $205.
Yeah, I
Wait,
like
once
his
or twice?
jam against two limps, right?
Let's
There's
do twice,
70 in the
Twice.
pot
I'm
plus the
running
two
out of
limps.
change in the pot.
Yeah.
He's
Run
risking
it up
200 to win
twice.
90, and he
I
could
got
just
you,
get folded through.
Yeah, if you can chip
I
up that
agree with you. I
percentage of
feel
your
like this
stack,
is-
that's good.
Yeah. So you guys
gonna
decide
be
to
a
run it
smooth
twice, so you split the
situation.
pot in half, and you're going to run two boards.
Got it.
So Jamie has
Yeah,
to
you
win
got it.
twice, which is kind of
Yeah,
tough.
That's
Yeah.
actually pretty.
Okay.
It's a
You got
decent
it.
flop potential.
4 outs here.
Okay.
Now I could make a
What?
7 to chop.
7?
Queen would be no good.
7.
Ace on the river.
Right.
Yeah.
One for Jamie.
That's twice you should have ran it once, Jamie.
So hey, at least he
Well,
burned one of his aces and one of his jacks.
It's just, you know. You have the ATM limit every day. There's only so much you can get out. I don't have an American bank account. I gotta
Good,
spin
whatever,
it every
whatever you
day.
want.
And then ace right there on the flop.
Grr.
Short deck swings, man.
7 for the chop.
Yeah, 7 for the chop. No. Yeah. Close.
So Jamie scoops you there. Pretty hard to win ace jack against kings running it twice, but he scoops you.
Yep. That's the way it goes. Yeah, but if we're playing 10 ante and then 10 on the button, we're basically playing 10, 20, 40.
It's a very big game.
They all
Yeah,
started flying
yeah.
in
10,
here
20,
like
40, no
midweek. You're
limit.
like, oh my God, you guys have
It's like
short deck.
deceptively large.
Yeah.
Short deck where all the
Yeah,
equities
like
are running together, so there could
Stream
be
helps
some
bring people
some
that
things
weren't
happening.
like so convinced.
So this is another limped pot.
Oh man, Bexel has a trophy. now
And
we gotta
go into it real
so yeah, this is a limped pot, and this is what I was saying earlier, that when there is limped pots and it comes 7-7 or 6-6x, it really helps the button, right? Because the most likely person to have one of those is going to be the button, which is
Yep.
you in this case. So both Jeff and I have jacks, and you have bottom trips. Pretty good spot.
go get one.
So
25.
I check. You flat. And you flat here with 10-9, 8-9,
players.
7x, Jack X.
Yep.
I did call as well behind you guys for a quarter or whatever it was. It was a small bet.
Am I good to go?
Just
for
got a little
5
bit of a
minutes?
decision
Do I
here
need
whether
to
to
unplug
bet again
anything?
or put the
Am I good
brakes
to go
on a
for
little
5
bit.
I think you got to put the brakes on, right? We just talked about how you can
Check it.
definitely have 7x. You can definitely have Jack 10 in this spot. You can have
Yeah.
8-9 very easily. With also me behind him, he has to be worried. Behind you, he has to be worried about that also.
Yeah.
Bet 75.
And you surely must bet here. And you bet 75.
Alright. I'm
75.
sick of the short stack.
I folded. With Jeff behind me and you on the button here, I am very worried, and so just fold.
Heads up.
Yeah.
If I had Jack 9, maybe I would have
I
continued.
think deep stack is the way to go in this game.
There are advantages, obviously.
So 4 to a straight on the board now.
Scary for both
Check
of
it.
you.
Jeff's just trying to get the showdown.
You just
I decided to
check
shut down.
back.
I have the worst
Jacks
7.
and sevens, 3 sevens.
Yeah, he almost never has a better 7 than you, but it's hard for him to call if he just has a single jack. Like if he has king
Still
jack or
undefeated.
queen jack, not really sure. Reasonable check back, I guess,
Yeah.
on your part.
It's tough for me to, I think, get too much more value from really any hand.
Yeah, I mean, even though Jeff almost never has an 8,
Just 6 hands
like
to deal with.
I don't think he's gonna call with too many jacks. So
24
Heads.
cards plus the
I like your
There we
check.
go.
You got
Dealer's
like 4
gonna have
cards
you.
left in the stub, yeah.
Jamie limps with 10s, very reasonably.
We can try
Raise
it if you
to
guys want
60.
to. We
Also
can put
a
a cap on
reasonable
it too
raise.
if we want to really be protective.
Very reasonable folds by the other players. Ricky with 2.6K at this point.
Ricky is the man.
He's
Heads up.
killer, dude. Just crushing. Nice flop here
Check.
for Jamie. Gut shot, though, for Andrew. Hi there.
Hello, turn.
Hello.
500 cap at 10.
So just on the flop, I mean, I feel like there's going to be so many hands that are going to call a C-bet.
That's a scary flop, man.
Yeah.
Like, limp calls and it comes Jack 10-7. You're very happy to check back with ace queen there.
Yeah.
You catch a queen or an ace, you're like, okay, maybe I have the best hand. You catch a king, it's beautiful, obviously.
So good.
Check.
Time to start betting
Nice
here.
check here by
Still
Jamie
play a
on the
3K
turn.
pot.
Correctly is slightly worried
I
about the
wonder
king.
if they
Also thinks you're going to bet the king no matter
We
what
can
you
try.
have.
Bet 80.
If you somehow have nothing good, you're going to bet
I wonder if you
also.
can change the graphics during.
Kind of a small bet, 80 into
They're not ready.
190. Maybe want to size up here a little bit,
Yeah.
actually.
I think part of the problem for me is I'm forgetting that there's like the antes in the middle.
Right, it's not just the
Yeah, it's
like
not
a
just the
big
raise
blind.
or 3-bet or whatever.
Right.
So I'm like,
because on this board, man, like, you know, king queen is going to call you, jack queen is going to call you, 10 queen is going to call you, 8-9 you have destroyed, queen 9 you have destroyed, 10x of diamonds, 7x of diamonds, 2 pairs. Like there
Yeah.
are so many hands
there's
that can call you on the
that are going
turn.
to continue. Yeah.
So you could probably bet 200 here and probably still
For
get
Grace
paid.
will run out here in
Especially how
12
deep
17
stacked you are.
I think so.
Yeah.
And now
So
jack on the
Same
river,
range, right?
interesting.
Yeah, it's a decision here for me whether to just check it back or to try and get more value with the nut straight here. Could get value from like a queen jack type hand. Maybe some sort of like
If he has 8-9 or queen 9, you get paid by that too. But those hands may raise the turn. Not 8-9, but queen 9 may
Yeah.
raise the turn.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually not quite certain here. You do get paid by ace jack, like you said. Queen jack probably also. I lean towards betting, but I mean, Jamie limped. He could definitely have jack 10 as played.
Yeah.
The thing is, if he
wanted
has
to
jack 10, he never folds it.
Jason wants
Sorry.
to put the stamp on. We did
Sorry,
this
yeah, I
first.
just wanted to see if I had any diamonds in there that he
First
may
ever
be like
deal
drawing with. Is
short
it more
stack.
likely that he doesn't have a diamond
think
draw that he
Poker
called
Go
with?
did
If
it.
Yeah.
I have a diamond,
possible.
or, you know, if I don't have a diamond,
This would be a sick check back.
We can try it. We can
couldn't
run
do
it.
it.
We can
Couldn't
definitely
find- I
run
thought
it.
about it for a
Fine.
while though. Did think about it for a
An
while.
orbit of
Bet
it, yeah.
145.
Snap call from Jamie.
And Jamie just calls.
Turns his hand over right away.
Yeah, he expects to win, but doesn't want to raise because you do have king king.
10.
And there you go. 10's full. Ship it.
Please.
Yep. That would have been a good check back. Not
Tough check back.
It's one of the reasons why
I like
18
this
didn't
limp
work
here
on,
by you. 10-9 off.
right?
Limp. I think I may raise this one. Yep.
Raise
Suited
to
ace, pretty
70.
strong. Ricky folds 9-7 suited. Behind us.
What do you think about that?
It's okay.
Yeah.
On the
And
button,
Routine
definitely
seeing
calling.
Seeing the flop.
Talk me into a call there a little bit.
I feel like when I'm playing with you, I have to bring out my live
That's hands, they
pro
got
talking.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Table talk.
special
Check.
occasions. Yeah, so you flop the nuts
Buffer
here.
joint.
Okay, and then scary-ish turn card. I do turn a flush draw. And I feel like I must bet at this point, having you check twice.
Bet 125.
You need me on J. Carver violence. So,
Guess I could go a couple different ways, whether to just flat call or put in the raise with the singleton to the straight.
I don't mind calling. I honestly, at the time, did not think you had a 9 as played. I thought for some reason you would have played it differently. But it actually kind of makes sense. In this spot, you can have king, queen. You could have just a single jack. You could have a single 10. You could have, you know... I thought there were hands that even maybe like ace queen offsuit, although maybe you raise that hand and don't limp it to begin with. In my mind, there were hands that you could have here that weren't great. I did not think there were too many 9s, but it was possible at this point that you could have a 9. At this point, surely you feel like you have the best hand. And then river queen.
Check.
And so at this point in my mind, I was like, well, I could have ace king here.
Yeah.
And if Andrew doesn't have a 9, I'm almost for sure winning in any case. You could have a set as played. You could have,
If I have
you know,
two pairs,
pairs.
gotta let it go. Probably.
So I break out the black chips.
Bet 325.
325. You look perplexed. You pick the money up in your hand. I'm already like, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good sign for you.
I gotta start talking.
No, you shouldn't start talking. I mean, I don't know what you said.
I can fold.
Yeah.
I tried to say something.
When I have the money in my hand and you start talking,
You know for
sure.
sure.
You're trying
yeah.
to talk me out of doing
Yeah.
whatever I'm in process of doing.
Yeah, you know for sure I'm just trying to stop you. But I felt like I had no hope anyway, so I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Rip
That's
all of
true.
it in there.
I gotta just start shoving these rivers. What I've learned from this.
That's a good one to shove too.
I could have shoved that river, which
Would've
would
been
have
a
been
little
a
tougher.
sicker spot.
It
But
definitely would have been tougher.
King or queens out there, then you're still different.
Yeah.
it's funny, my stack never really goes up above 500 this session. It's weird how that
Flush
works.
doesn't come in that often.
Yeah.
I didn't have a flush draw, so.
Everybody else's
Raise
stack went up though.
65.
Strange.
You got my camera, right?
So you've colored up nicely here.
Please. Thank you.
So Jamie comes in for the raise with a king 10.
300.
65. You call behind with queens. As deep stacked as you are, it seems okay. Could have put the
Yeah.
re-raise in, but again, it's like a
50 bucks.
re-raise fold, which is always kind of weird. Unless you're re-raise calling, hoping he has
You're
ace
not
king.
concerned about me?
Yeah.
And then Moneymaker cold 3 bets. Remember, it was a limp and a raise, so he's the third 3 bet. Yep, that's right. And Jamie folds king 10, makes sense. And
What do you have left? Like 300 or something?
No, 200 and, well, yeah, about 300.
there's no way you can fold.
290.
Don't think so. Chris likes to gamble it up a little bit.
$600
Under up my
clubs, right?
hand somewhat,
Let's go.
and it's queens.
All in.
Pair?
Hello.
No.
Pair. No. Good news for you.
Yeah, it's really good news. He ends up having the queen jack suited.
Queen
situation.
jack. Yeah, this is about as good as it gets in short deck.
End of the show. All right, run
Decided
it
to run it
twice.
twice
Andrew
again.
doesn't like the max pain.
Yeah.
I'm usually not the one to
Well,
ask, but
8,
I
9,
think we were winding down here, and
Yeah, it's towards the end.
Hey, really not the worst.
Chris flops a
No,
gutter.
yeah. Just gotta put the 10 out there and then we're good. No heart.
Nope.
Wasted no hearts.
2 pair no good.
Yeah,
2
wasted
pair.
no hearts.
Can they cut it?
7 left.
You're in pretty good shape here, other than the fact that there are no hearts dead. But it's hard to make a flush in a short deck.
Good door card.
Okay, makes
Oh.
opportunities.
That was a little bit of hope.
All right.
Nice to win the first one. Yeah, that's what it feels.
Oh, that's a sick, that's a sick third card.
28.
Come on.
800, ladies and gentlemen.
There he is, Chris Moneymaker. Reasonable play by you. A little gambly, but reasonable by him. And that's the last hand you
There you
played.
go.
That's the last
cut
one.
to black. Not even a fade, just a snap to
Yeah,
black.
snap to black.
And there we have it. We wrapped up the session there with that. That was my last hand of significance, the one against Chris Moneymaker, who kind of has my number a little bit in cash games.
But you beat up Jeff nicely, and
I
the
did.
table generally. So you won a little bit of money.
I did. I ended up booking a win in this session of about $940, I believe. So
Solid.
when it's your
Baby's first short deck.
when it's your first time playing a game and you book a win, that's how they get you.
Not
and
bad.
I am definitely interested in playing more. Maybe Jay Carver was hustling us and just dusting it off in this game.
Hustling by losing thousands of dollars.
Next-
That's my hustle.
The next game is going to be a 20 ante. But yeah, really fun. Looking forward to playing it again. If you guys were into this this game, this analysis, this setup, and all the above, let us know. Leave a comment down below. Shoot us a message any of the usual ways.
And don't forget, if you want to check out the whole VOD, because we just did Andrew's hands, you can watch the full 4-hour video on runitup.tv, also on RAU Stats. So I'd love to do more of these. All the streams in Reno were awesome. It was great having you both as a player and as a commentator.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely do a lot more of these in the future.
All right. Hopefully the same result for one of us.
Yeah, exactly.